But McCubs, let's kick off with Zlatan, who definitely deserves a bit more respect, at least in Team FD maybe.
Yeah, I feel like he probably gets the respect he deserves in general, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why people hate on him in the FD offices a bit, mainly because he's his kind of away from the pitch antics, the fact that he kind of bigs himself up as one of the great players. He kind of sees himself on level with kind of Ronaldo and Messi, doesn't he? At least he says he does.
Calls himself a lion as well.
Calls himself a lion as well. Away from the camera we were discussing.
He's been
at his age, maybe that's not the most mature thing to be doing. But what were you saying, Henry?
He's twice tweeted recently that he's the god of Milan, and I've just thought,
wow.
Oh my god! When you're younger, it was kind of funny, but now it's just.
He is at the moment, though. To be fair.
Oh well, all right. Well, I'm sure.
So, but it's,
Mike can explain why.
It's quite a big claim, isn't it? So yeah, I think he's probably been treated maybe a little bit unfairly in the office as a result of that, because everywhere he's gone, his record speaks for itself, doesn't it? Every club he's played at, aside from I'd say probably Barcelona, because there was a bit of a conflict of interest there, wasn't there? Came in at a time when Messi was really staking a claim to be the main man up top, and got pushed out to the right, didn't he? And that didn't really work out. But every other club he's been at, he's been the focal point of the attack. He's been the top scorer in pretty much every season. So yeah, you can't really take that away from him. And I think in the wider football world, he does get the recognition he deserves. But equally, considering he was nearly let go by Milan in the summer, or at least it looked likely at one stage that he wasn't going to be offered a new contract. His start to this season is pretty amazing, isn't it? He returned obviously for Milan in January, scored 11 goals in 20 games until the end of the season. Helped really kick-start that second half kind of run that they went on that brought them up to 6th in the table. Only lost 2 of their final 20 games. Finished with 66 points, which is considering they were 11th at the turn of the year, was such a great recovery and probably kept Stefano Pioli in a job, to be honest. It is interesting because I think if they had followed through with Ralf Rangnick over the summer, I think Zlatan almost definitely would have been gone. You could just see those two have not seeing eye to eye, and Rangnick has come out in the media since saying that I can't remember what exactly he said, but basically saying that in the long term Zlatan isn't a good thing for Milan. Which I guess is maybe true. He is getting on, and he can't play forever, despite him, despite his performances suggesting otherwise at the moment. Because this season he's just been unreal, hasn't he? 7 games in all competitions, and he's got 8 goals and 2 assists already. So he's got 7 goals and 1 assist in 4 Serie A games. That alone is incredibly impressive, isn't it? But obviously, as we like to do at FD and AFD, we like to kind of look behind that, because there's always a chance that players might be overperforming a little bit, going through a little bit of purple patch, and it looks like that might slow down. And with Zlatan, I think it probably will slow down to an extent, but judging by his output, I don't know how much it will. I think he actually is a contender for Golden Boot this season. He's taking 4.5 shots a game, which is actually, I think, better than what he was managing at PSG in 2015-16, when he scored 50 goals or 51 goals or whatever it was. I think when you switch that to per 90, the PSG season does edge it, but still that is incredibly impressive considering that was 4 years ago and he was 35 then. He's also averaging 1.5 key passes a game, completing nearly a dribble a game. Expected goals and expected assists per 90 has him at about 1.28, which is better than what Messi was managing last season. There's every chance that he's going to carry on this form. And it feels like he's kind of moulded his game a little bit. Obviously, he's still creating chances, and it's easy to look at his goal output and be like, oh, that's why teams have gone for him in the past. But he does offer a lot more as a centre forward, doesn't he? His all round centre forward play is exceptional. I know at United he was accused a little bit of kind of slowing down play a little bit, but overall the quality of attacking play at Man United did take a big step up when he was on the pitch, especially when he was kind of linking up with Paul Pogba and whatnot. And I think at Milan, because it's such a young squad, he kind of complements them quite well. And I think he's kind of moulded his game a little bit more to become more of a penalty box operator. Because I think of his 4.5 shots a game, I think he's taking nearly 4 shots in the box, which is more than Mo Salah. I think it would rank pretty highly in the Premier League, to be fair. But yeah, more than Mo Salah is pretty astounding, considering that Mo Salah arguably has better creators around him. But yeah, like, and the impact he's had is there to see, isn't it? They're top of the table, 4th for expected goals, 4th for expected goals against, but they're top according to expected points, which suggests that, you know, that the results have gone their way. The results that have gone their way have been deserved. You know, pretty impressive given one of their key players, Ante Rebic, last season. He's only been fit enough to play about 166 minutes. Then Rafa Leao stepped up, hasn't he? I think with Ibra staying, I think it's become clear that Rafael Leao is going to take a lot more of a kind of creative role. He's already got 2 goals, but he's already got 3 assists as well. 2 of them have come for Zlatan, 2 excellent assists for him. He's averaging 1.5 shots, 1.5 key passes, completing over 3 dribbles as well. David Calabria at right back, we've spoken about him before, haven't we? He's been excellent, played almost every minute so far. He's averaging over 6 tackles and interceptions per 90. Excellent in a side which has generally set out to dominate this season. And yeah, the midfield is also functioning pretty well. Kessié, Benacer, Çalhanoğlu, all in pretty good form. And I guess in the Europa League as well, they started really brightly as well, and they've, you know, been integrating Tonali and Brahim Diaz into that midfield in the Europa, which is just like, when you're playing against lesser sides, that is a great midfield to be able to call on, isn't it? So much fun in those 2 players. So yeah, generally AC Milan are looking really good, and we're going to probably talk about them a lot more across the season, especially if their results continue. But yeah, Zlatan has really been a quite an unlikely star, I think. I know he was great at the end of last season, but it really did look a little bit touch and go for a while in the summer whether he was actually going to stay in Milan. It felt like that might have been his swan song in a top 5 league, but judging by this, if he carries this on, like, there's every chance he might sign another contract and go for another season. Like, I really don't think that's out of the question. So yeah,
you have to think the way that he plays, because he doesn't rely on blistering pace. And aside from that injury he got, that really unfortunate injury he got at Manchester United, he has pretty much kept himself in immaculate condition. Yeah. He is, you know, you can't actually doubt his professionalism. No. He's got that Cristiano Ronaldo devotion to sort of his body and maintaining his physical fitness. And you're right, like, if on the basis that he's still just an unbelievably clinical finisher, and he knows how to operate in the box, there's every chance he could play for longer. And he always said he was going to play to 40. So I think, you know, it is testament just to his general professionalism that he's even in this situation where he's still, you know, he went to America. I don't think anyone would have forgiven him for winding down his career out there, but he obviously felt that he was good enough to come back and produce something. And I actually disagree with what Ralf Rangnick said. At the end of the day, AC Milan are about being in the Champions League. They're about being on the biggest stage. I think it's all well and good becoming a club which, like, develops young players and, you know, reinventing yourself that way. But for me personally, in my opinion, AC Milan aren't really about that. They're about being the best they can possibly be. And if he can get them into the level where they're earning money through Champions League revenue, and they can get some consistent appearances and start attracting those younger players, then surely that's a good thing, because he's obviously quite a pivotal player in reasserting AC Milan at the top end of Serie A right now.
Yeah. I mean, we forget as well. He was out with COVID for a week or 2, wasn't he? At the start of this season as well, and like, I mean, I guess it's difficult to say, but like, it's definitely been evident with other players that being out with COVID and coming back has taken a little while. I know definitely with like Paul Pogba at the start of the season, that looked like a factor. He looked quite off the pace, and I don't know, maybe Zlatan had quite a mild case of it, but like, for an older player to come back and not really look too affected by it is pretty impressive as well.
He's just the perfect person to have as they sort of transition into, they've got the youngest side in Europe, I think, even with Zlatan playing, which is just insane. And it's quite a difficult period for the club in that they're trying to redevelop the San Siro. They still don't own the rights to the San Siro, so their finances haven't been in the best of shape. So this moving towards a younger team, which will then hopefully have a sell-on value, is the right idea. They're very keen on their analytics now. And massive credit to Maldini and people like that behind the scenes who have really sort of led a shift. But Zlatan's been the perfect sort of front man for it. And you mentioned about his body, and that's really come in handy so far. I mean, some of the goals he's scored, bicycle kicks, the dexterity to pick up balls way above his head, and he's become just the ultimate sort of penalty box predator. He's not doing so many shots from outside the box. He's just really operating, using his physicality in that 18-yard box, and he's absolutely lethal. So fair play to Zlatan. Never been the biggest fan of him off outside of the pitch, but on it, what an absolute behemoth of a player who deserves definitely more respect.